This is Sean with Gate City Foundation Drainage. I'm out on a job today in Greensboro, and so we've already started this job, but let me take you and catch you up to what's been going on. So we've got this house here, and there was a patio, concrete patio, and it was sloping right into the house. And so, as you've often seen me do, the water was just basically pooling. And let me see if I've got some footage, some before footage for you. This is Sean. I got a call from one of my viewers and subscribers, and they had just purchased this house, and the backyard, it's a beautiful backyard, but it slopes back into the patio, and the patio was concrete and it had sunken and sloped down. And so when they had a heavy rain, they would just get a ton of water just sitting on the patio and actually threatening to come into the house. And so they called me out there to take a look at it, and they already pretty much had a good idea, since they've been watching my channel, of what to do. And so gave them a price on doing some concrete work. And I think I've got some video of the flooding too, so let me find that. But anyway, what we're going to do here is we are going to do a new patio. And not only are we going to do a new patio, but we're going to expand it. And so we're going to give them some extra outdoor living space. And you know I love that drainage double whammy of fixing drainage problems with new concrete. So take a look. I lost the footage of me tearing everything out, so you're going to be having to catch up a little bit, but here we go. And what was happening here is we're pretty much sloping uphill quite a bit up there, and the water was just pouring down the hill and landing on the concrete, which was sloping into the house. And so what I wanted to do for a solution here was do a new concrete patio, and that's going to do a couple things for us. First of all, the concrete's going to be a waterproof, impermeable barrier up against the foundation. The other thing is you can get water to flow with just a little bit of fall. So we've got about 3 inches, I think, of fall over 24 feet. And so we're doing a new patio here. Oh, the other thing that the concrete solution does is it gives you outdoor living space. And so instead of just spending a bunch of money on some pipes or some other kind of drainage solution, you're spending the same money, maybe a little bit more, but you're getting a lot more out of it. You're getting some outdoor living space. So I'm out here waiting for the concrete guys to get here, and I want to talk some more about what's going on with this job. I've got a load of sand rock here and my tamper, and you may have noticed that this neon string line is laid out here, and so I wanted to talk for a minute about concrete work and how to quote it. So you all saw the before footage here. There was a huge stump over there. There was like a railroad tie bed there and a stump there, and this whole area right here just looked, before it looked unfinished. It was kind of dead space right here. The concrete came to this edge here to the post. So when I measured this, I was out here and I measured from the edge of the carport there, and it came out to 42. So we were out here with the customers. I said, okay, 42 feet. And then we measured out and we said, okay, let's, blow it out quite a bit and try to get some good drainage and some extra concrete in here. And that came out to 24. And so at that point I was like, okay, we're 24 by 42. Haha, that's kind of funny. And so I wrote that in my quote. I said approximately 24 by 42. And then once Mateo got out here with his Bobcat, you can see how good this looks. And if I brought you out here and asked you where would the logical place to end the concrete be, you would not say at this line right here. But before, the concrete ended here. There was a little bed there, and so we were just like, okay, let's just take it a few feet beyond the existing concrete. Now if you look at this, you would say it needs to go to the edge of the house right there. And so, like I always say, get the customer, get the client out here at this stage when we're forming it up, because now is the time to change it. And so there was a little bit of discussion about where to put the thing here, and so we ended up, I gave him a price for extending it out to the edge here. And because I had put the actual dimensions in there in the quote, there was really no question about, you know, anything about extending it or extra money, that sort of thing. So in my experience, it's been very helpful to put the actual dimensions, whether it be square footage, because we could have come in a little bit more and gotten the same square footage for the same price. The customer decided to take this from this string line here, I guess right there, out to the edge here, and I gave him quite a bit of a discount on that because we're already here. So I definitely wanted to mention that in terms of doing concrete work and pricing concrete work. So that's why I've got some extra sand rock, because Mateo, once he gets here, he'll blow out this little edge here, and in case we need some more sand rock, I've got it. Like I said, I'm waiting on them to get here, and so let's see if I can get this tamper off of here. I've got the old incline plane going on. I found these laying in the yard here. The customer had them laying over there somewhere. So I'm gonna film this. Wish me luck. Baby. This thing is definitely heavy. I don't know which side to be on. I wanted to talk for a second about pouring concrete in this part of North Carolina. So this right here is the base that we're using. This is called sand rock, and it is a decomposed sedimentary rock that we have in this area. And unfortunately, this load was not the screen stuff, so you still have some chunks in here which we have to deal with. But this stuff is brown in color, but I want to make sure you understand that we're using it as a base material. This is not just dirt. The other thing that a lot of people talk about with my concrete videos is rebar. And so in this area, we don't have really a frost line. We very rarely get freezing temperatures, although we do sometimes. And we're sitting on top of clay here for the most part. So they just don't use rebar in non-structural concrete. Now, I lived in Denver, Colorado for a while, and in Denver you have subsoils that have bentonite, which is really well known for shifting around. You have, of course, cold temperatures, and you have a lot of sandy soils where you can have subsurface water, things like that. So in Denver, Colorado, I mean, it would blow my mind if anybody tried to pour concrete without rebar. So I totally get where you all are coming from when you see us pour with no concrete or no rebar. But it's just not necessary here in this part of the country. We do pour a mix with fiber in it, so that does help a little bit. But we've poured tons and tons with no fiber in it, and it just doesn't crack up as long as you pour it thick enough. So when you see a lot of our tear outs that are cracked all to pieces, a lot of times it's like an inch or two thick. So I want to make sure to talk about that, because rebar is not even on my mind. It's not even on my radar here. And then everybody's like, where's the rebar? Where's the rebar? I'm like, oh, I should have talked about it. So there you go. How is that different from your area? I know I mentioned pouring the concrete thick. We always do 4 inches thick. But another huge part of concrete is getting the prep and the sub base done. And so with me personally, if I'm sitting around waiting, either waiting for concrete or waiting for whatever, I'll typically just compact it again. Even if we've compacted it a few times, if I'm sitting around doing nothing and I've got a compactor there, I'll just go ahead and run the compactor again. And so I kind of drive some of my concrete guys nuts by doing that. But when it comes to the base and the prep, that's really what's going to give you a good concrete pour. And getting it compacted so it's not going to shift around is going to keep it from cracking. So that's what I'm doing here while I'm waiting. I'm just running the compactor again. All right, the concrete guys just showed up, so we're hustling to get that last little bit formed up, and then the concrete will be on the way shortly.
Más arriba.
You want to go a little bit higher, maybe?
Yeah. A ver, póngala.
So what is your philosophy? Water pushes water?
Yes, sir. Water push water. Sí.
Water pushes water? I think that's wrong because if water needs water to be pushed, then it's backing up. But if gravity is pushing water, then water doesn't need water to push it.
We'll watch the video when water's running this way.
Yeah. Okay. So the last bit of water, what's pushing that?
Water?
No, there's no more water. Gravity's pushing water. That's what we're going for.
We'll see what
pushing
people
water.
say, right?
Yeah. See what the viewers say about that. Water push water, or gravity pushes water. What do you all think?
Yeah. Thumbs up.
So we've got about 5 inches of fall.
Actually, 4 from that corner this way, 1 from that corner that way.
Okay. And then we're heading all of it's going this way. All right, well, we didn't need any additional sand rock, but as they say, it's better to need it, not have it, than have it, not need it, right? So we were covered either way. And I guess we are waiting for concrete now. Mateo is just doing a little bit of smoothing stuff out while we wait. The concrete just arrived and we're all ready for it. So we got Brian today and he's a master concrete mixer driver. So that's what we need on this job. The plan is to do it all with the chute. That's about as good as it gets, getting the concrete truck right up to the farm. That's why we got the master with us. Having a little pre-pour meeting over here. ready to do this thing?
I don't see it being a problem. I don't see it was with it.
Wasn't too bad. Sounds like a concrete truck coming up. Oh, look at that. And we got Brian again. Brian. He's fast.
Come on, Brian.
Getting a little bit of extra fiber in the concrete mix. He likes it.
¿Quieres un tiempito? ¿Poquita agua?
We got the pre-pour meeting going here. Whenever y'all are ready, we're ready to pour.
Oh yeah.
You guys done with your meeting?
We're talking about beach houses.
Yeah. Fred, did you fall?
Okay, as they say, the concrete is on the ground. So they're getting cleaned up and Brian will be done with this job for the day. Okay, we've been talking for like 30 minutes. So usually the concrete truck's way gone before they start troweling it down. And since they're all busy, I'm gonna have to hold the power line up. Oop, getting some fiber in the next load. All right, Brian said he's finished for the day, so he's out of here. And we're waiting on some concrete to set up a little bit. Looks like they're ready to broom. So I'm hustling over here. Is it ready?
Yeah.
Well, they got the first truck where the concrete broomed and they're waiting on the second truck to set up a little bit. But I am going to take off. So I've got to go get rid of this sand rock that we didn't need and get ready for tomorrow. I'm back out here. It's been several days and I'm out here to do the finish grading. So this is how concrete contractors leave their work. This edge here is going to be unfinished. So if you're getting concrete work done, make sure to include either know that they're going to include the finish grading, or know that you're going to have to do it yourself or hire someone else. So with the plan this morning, I want to try to cut this down a little bit, maybe encourage some of the water to go that way. And I think there's gravel in here, and so I want to try to get, if there is gravel in there, we want to put the gravel on this edge here, because apparently this used to be a circular drive. And if there's not, I've got plenty of dirt. This here, I want to just feather it down, so there'll be a swale right here, basically. And I've got this pile. They want to keep the dirt on site. And so I've got, I guess, a dump site, or the dump is back in the brush right there. So I'll be making a few trips. So, and I've got to clean up our washout as usual. So the plan is to get this done today. And I've got the Volvo, so let's see how we do. I just finished with the finish grading, and Karina got everything feathered in real nicely, so the homeowners are thrilled. And there's a lot of, I guess, a lot of gravel along the edge here. This is more dirt, and then this up here is dirt, so we're seeding and strawing that. But all this is gravel, even though it looks like dirt. Once it rains, it'll wash that in. So there's not really any point in seeding and strawing this gravel. So we're not going to worry about that. We talked to the homeowners about that. And what I tried to do up here, take a look. I left this high, and I don't know if you can see it or not, but I tried to basically split the water. So the water's going to go that way and go that way. So that's going to help the burden a little bit. And from here, it looks like it's going to do it for sure. I told the homeowners to keep an eye on it and let me know once it rains. But yeah, things are coming along pretty well. So we're just cleaning up, getting some seed and straw out, and we'll be finished. just to that post right there. I'm getting everything loaded up, and Karina's taken off back to the shop. This definitely looks good. Oh, I need to get that downspout elbow back on, don't I? I wonder if I can fool with that. I did want to mention, we didn't pipe this under the concrete because they're going to redo this little overhang, and they're not sure if they're going to extend it out or where they're going to put it. So that whole downspout may be eliminated. And of course, once the water gets on the concrete, it's good to go anyway. But anyway, it looks really, really good. The homeowners are beyond excited. They've got this beautiful yard, and now they've got a beautiful patio. The homeowner sent me a few clips during a rain, so take a look. Here you can see that the water is being channeled across the concrete and basically down that swale that we created between the patio and the finish grading. Same thing on the other side here. And although they don't really show it in this clip, I wanted to ask you what the most important part of this clip is. I've mentioned it many, many times in my videos during rain footage. Let me know in the comments below. And of course the answer is the dry line. You can't fake that dry line, and so now the whole patio under the patio cover there is dry. This is Sean. I'd like to thank you for watching this video, even though we missed the tear out part of it and the first part. But this was a really good one, and the homeowners are really, really happy with their yard now and their new patio. Alright, thanks again for watching, and I will see you on the next one.